For a great cup of joe, there's one thing you should know. Your morning brew can also be playful. Buff Boy Brewing guys make the temperature rise, and you surely feel naughty when you swallow our coffee. If you want some real heat, give your mouth a fine treat. You will want some more, rest assured. Buff Boy Brewing, you can't get enough of.
It's time for The Scribble, your weekly fix of celebrity chats, bizarre stories in the news, and basic random chatter with best-selling author and syndicated radio host Jeremy Bradley. Make sure your seat is in the upright and locked position and your barf bag is securely in place. Here's Jeremy Bradley.
Thank you very much, Larson. Jeremy Bradley here. This is The Scribble. Thanks for tuning in at thescribbleshow.com, on your favorite podcast app, or really however the hell you found us. I appreciate your attention today. 30 minutes of time-wasting fun, although I wouldn't say it's time-wasting because this week it's going to be very informative. The Oak Ridge Boys are celebrating 40 years of their hit song Elvira. And Joe Bonsall from the group is joining us. Now, I don't have much else planned for the show this week because when the Oaks come on, I don't know how long it's going to run. We just go. So I'm gonna shut up during this intro, and we're gonna get to Joe really quickly. But you know, it's one of those songs, Elvira is, that my mom was just singing it the other day, and I know it from my childhood. Now, as a kid, you don't realize that. Okay, well, this song is as old as you are, right? Like you don't make those connections. But now I sit here going, I'm 38 years old. That song is 40. Like you have this song. This song is more well known than I am. Of course it is, and it's had much better success than I have. That's almost depressing. I don't think I want to talk to Joe on the show this week. You know what? Hang up the phone. We're not going to talk to Joe. No, he's great. So we're going to get into the Oak Ridge Boys, and it starts right after this.
Who are the Kardashians feuding with now? What did that little thug Justin Bieber do this time? Who's getting hitched? And who's headed for Splitsville? Hear the latest celebrity news and gossip every day on Entertainment Wrap-Up. The good, the bad, the ugly, but mostly the ridiculously hilarious. It's all recapped in this daily segment at entertainmentwrapup.com. Have a laugh at the expense of the rich and famous when they take themselves way too seriously. It's 3 minutes of time-wasting fun at entertainmentwrapup.com. Check out Entertainment Wrap-Up at entertainmentwrapup.com. Brought to you by Speak Free Books.
It seems like the Oak Ridge Boys are always celebrating something. You know, that's the only time they ever call me. Have you guys realized that? No, but I love chatting with them, and Joe Bonsall from the group is joining us on the line. Hi, Joe.
How you doing, Jeremy? Is that the only time we call you when we're celebrating?
Celebrating or trying to sell something, but yeah, you know what? But I'll take it.
Well, it's good to talk to you anyway, man. We're celebrating all kinds of things, I guess.
Well, I mean, you know what? We need some celebration, right? Obviously, we all know what's going on in the world. We need to look on the bright side of life, as they say.
Well, you know, we've been really trying to do that, man. Of course, like everybody in the music industry, you know, we've been shut down for a year and a half. We played a show here, a show there. But I've got to tell you, man, looking ahead, June, we have 18 shows booked in June. And so far, they haven't gone away. So to me, now I know I said this last year at this time, boy, if we could just make it till June, well, that all fell apart. Yeah. But I'm saying it again this year. If we can get to June, we're going to be back in high cotton, and we're going to be out there doing what we do. And I think a lot of people are starting to see some light at the end of the tunnel, and that's what we're hoping for.
Well, I got to say, I mean, when I look at your tour schedule, it's such a contrast between last year, and I imagine you guys love what you do. I know you love what you do. Does the downtime, you must hate the downtime.
You know, actually, I miss being the Oak Ridge Boys. I miss going out there and singing because, you know, that's what we do and that's what we are. And, you know, we've been at it a long time. But I can also tell you at the same time, I've enjoyed the time at home. I've enjoyed time with family that, you know, for days and days and days on end that I never have had in my life before. Mm-hmm. So I think it's been a blessing to be home. I think all four guys, in fact, we were just together in Tulsa, Oklahoma last Saturday night, all reflecting upon the fact that everybody's kind of enjoyed home. We're ready to sing, and doing a big show in Tulsa last Saturday was really fun. And we're ready to really get out there and do it. We have a new album coming out in June called Front Porch Singing, and we recorded it in August in the heart of the pandemic with Dave Cobb producing. And I don't know, man. I think we're all really ready to go and chomping at the bit, but I can't say that I've hated the time off either. It's been a reflective time, a good time. I wrote a new book. I don't know when it's going to come out, but I even wrote a new book, and I don't know, man. It's just it's not been so bad.
Yeah, I'm just making a note here. All right, so Joe's going to be calling again in June, you guys, when they've got to hawk that album. Let's write that down.
I already got to plug in.
Okay. But yeah, I guess it's also let people experience new ways of being creative, right? I mean, that we've seen that, whether it's on social media and just coming up with new projects. Or I mean, we've seen a lot of people get involved in music recently.
Yeah, I mean, it's just been a different paradigm for everybody. I mean, it's been an awful time, a crazy time, and something like we haven't seen ever in our lifetime. Mm-hmm. And I guess this is kind of our World War II or something. I don't know, but I feel like a lot of people are pulling together. I feel like a lot of people are optimistic, and it's been hard to be that way off and on. I mean, there's been times I know I've went to the supermarket, and I've seen everybody in there in their mask, and I've seen a lot of really blank stares on a lot of faces, and that has saddened me, to be real honest. And I like to see people get going again and get beyond this pandemic and just get back to being ourselves and doing what we do in at least somewhat of a normal way. And I really believe that's coming, and I think music is important. I think music will be more important, I think, coming out of this than we even realized going in. And our manager, Jim Halsey, who's been our manager since 1975, he's 90 years old. And he came out in Tulsa the other night, and we all sat backstage and laughed and cried and planned and prayed and everything else. And Jim said he thinks there's an important time coming, and the Oak Ridge Boys and what we do will be important to people, will be a blessing. And I hope he's right.
And you know what's interesting, just as you say that, it makes me think, the pandemic is worldwide, it's global, it's affecting everybody. And and music is the same way, right? No matter where you're from, every country, every area, every region has music as well. So, it's music that really helps a lot of people get through, I think, a lot of things, no matter where you are in the world.
Well, I think so. And as you know, it don't matter if you were like the first chair violinist for the symphony, if you sang rock and roll, hip-hop, country, if you were a star on Broadway, man, you were shut down. Mm-hmm. And everybody around you was shut down. And all of your band and crew and drivers and bus leasing companies and public relations and people that own theaters and people that work at the theaters or the arenas or the fairs. I mean, every outdoor show last year canceled, county fairs, state fairs, big country festivals all went down. And we were just shut down, and our switch was flipped off. That's kind of hard to deal with. And I had a rougher time with it, I think, last year at this time than I'm having with it now, because the Oak Ridge Boys at least kept managing to do something to keep ourselves up and positive and alive. For instance, recording the new album in August. We spent a lot of August in the studio, and it just felt good to do that. I couldn't wait to get downtown every day and see the guys. Yeah, we were socially distanced. Everybody had a mask on except when it was time to sing. And I don't know, it just felt real good. I mean, you couldn't even stop at your favorite restaurant downtown Nashville and eat because they were closed up. And then when you put all the political unrest and the riots and everything else that happened on top of all that, and then a crazy election on top of it, and now what's going on in the country's even, I think, stranger than it was last year, like with the border and stuff like that. These are just very, very strange times, man, and I think we need to be leaning on God more than we ever have. I really believe that in my heart, and I think that there is the light that we're looking for. And I don't know, I see us coming out of this okay, because by God, this is America, and I really feel that way.
Well, people have been leaning on good classic music to get through it. Let's talk about, where we're going now, right? 40 years of Elvira. And actually, and I'm celebrating 15 years on the radio, so how's that for coincidence? We both have an anniversary right now, Joe.
Well, congratulations, man. That's
Thank
really
you.
Cool. And I'll tell you, going back 40 years and realizing what a big monster record that was in 81, do you realize, man, I don't know how old you are, but you realize in 81, we didn't even have compact discs yet. They were a year away. We did not have an internet. An internet was 4 years away. Cable TV was in its infancy, just beginning. ESPNs and MTVs and stuff like that. We weren't really even there yet. And in 81, Rick Springfield had Jesse's Girl, and Kim Carnes was singing about Betty Davis' eyes, and Kool and the Gang were celebrating good times, come on, and the Oak Ridge Boys had Elvira. And for the whole year, people, no matter who they were, what age group they were in, no matter what their music preference, was singing Papa Mau Mau with the Oak Ridge Boys. And it took us from being a pretty good, successful country music act to a household name. And here it is 40 years later. We're still singing the song. People still equate us with the song. You know, we're in the Country Music Hall of Fame. It wasn't Elvira that put us in the Hall of Fame, man. It was our body of work. We have an incredible body of work. But Elvira is still the song that people know and equate with the Oak Ridge Boys. To this day and age, did it just last week in Tulsa. Well, let's sing Elvira. People stand up, man, like it's the Hallelujah chorus and sing it with us. It's just an incredible thing to have been a part of all these years. And it's amazing to me that 40 years later, we're still singing it, and it's been around now for 40 years for us. It's just mind-boggling.
Well, you guys are still singing it, but it's also one of those great sing-along songs. And just for the record, I was born in '82, so the song is a little bit older than me. But it's one of those songs that you don't need to really have a big vocal range to. Like, it's just a catchy song to sing along to, and we don't have many of those nowadays.
No, we really don't. And there's no bass singers out there singing Papa Mau Mau like Richard. I mean, that song made him the most famous bass singer in the world. And when we recorded that song, it was just a good idea to do this song. A few people came in with the idea. We were working on the Fancy Free album in 1980, and a song plugger from Ray Cuff Rose named Ronnie Gant came in the studio. He had just heard this bar band sing Elvira in Texas. And he said, man, all I could think of was, man, the Oak Ridge Boys should sing this thing. And our producer, Ron Chansey, who produced all those big hits in those days, thought, hey, good idea, man, let's try it. And we went in and sang it just a couple times through. If you listen to me sing those verses, man, I'm just goofing around. I'm even, eyes that look like heaven. I'm funning.
Yeah.
And then Richard did the bass part, and then it turns out to be what it was. Holy cow, man. You just sometimes can't plan those things.
And I got to tell you, and this is absolutely a true story, not making this up. I walked over to my parents' house last week with my dog, and they were working in the backyard. They had music playing. My mom does not sing along to many songs. Out of nowhere, and I'm totally serious, Elvira came on, and she was singing. So you've had a fan in her for those 40 years as well.
Well, you know what, man? Another thing is, that's one reason I think we're still around, man. Grandma, mom and dad, young couples, they've passed us down like an old shirt. And as they've passed us down to their kids and their young people that are out there now, Elvira came along with the pass down. And, you know, I'll give you an example. Singing at a big, gigantic festival, I remember several times over the last couple of years. We're up there singing Sail Away and Leaving Louisiana in the Broad Daylight, the All Come Back Saloon, before we even get to Elvira. And there's these young cowboys down there with muscles and a beer in one hand and a girlfriend in the other, singing every single word. And I remember saying, man, how could you guys down there know the words to those songs? You weren't even born. Long time before you were born when those songs came out. Grandpa's 8-track, man. So there you go. We've been passed down.
I don't even have to ask you, why do you keep doing what you do, Joe? You just answered. That's exactly why, right? The love of the music. Everybody has it.
It is. And I enjoy being with the Oak Ridge Boys. You know, I've just finished a new book with this time off, kind of semi-autobiographical, semi-Oak Ridge Boy. And I've just been reflecting a lot back over my whole life. I mean, I joined the Oak Ridge Boys in 1973. I was 25 years old. And I'm now almost just about 73. And I'm still one of the Oak Ridge Boys, and those three guys are older and uglier than I am. So, I mean, you know, here we still are. And there's no talk of how can we stop this. Nobody knows how to stop it. It's like God will tell us when it's over. There was one time this past year, I turned to my wife and I said, am I retired? She said, you might be, because we were home so much. But I didn't ever feel in my heart like I was retired. I felt like this will pass and I'll be singing if I'm still breathing. And sure enough, I'm still breathing and we're still singing. And there's no stopping nobody, man. Everybody enjoys this. Everybody still feels like there's more to do. And, you know, we've lost a lot of friends in our business this last year, man. Kenny Rogers left us.
Yeah.
Harold Reed left us. Jan Howard left us. Charlie Daniels, for crying out loud. Charlie Pride. Charlie Daniels, man. Here's a guy that a couple years ago had a stroke up on top of a mountain in Colorado, all alone, and drove a snowmobile 20 miles to his truck, got in his truck and drove himself to the hospital to be treated for a stroke that he had on the mountain. Charlie Daniels can't die. That's ridiculous. But he did. And so you've got to celebrate life every day. I think it's God's most important gift to us this side of salvation. And I think it's important to keep on doing what you love to do. And for the Oak Ridge Boys, that's singing. And we're going to be singing this year.
And I know your website and social media, that's where there's a lot of great updates. People can be in touch to find out the concert dates, the release dates, and everything like that, right?
Right. OakRidgeBoys.com is kind of headquarters. You can follow the Oak Ridge Boys on Twitter at Oak Ridge Boys. We have an Instagram and a Facebook presence out there as well. I would say that the most up-to-date way to stay with us day to day is the Twitter account at Oak Ridge Boys. And I say that because I do the Oak Ridge Boys tweets, and I keep everybody up to date.
Okay, here's what's going to happen, Joe. I'm going to tweet you in a few minutes a picture of one of those legendary artists you were just talking about, okay?
Please do.
Yeah, we did an interview from his dressing room. That's how much of a gentleman he was. He said, you know what, let's do an interview before my concert in my dressing room. I'll tweet that to you in a few minutes.
I'd appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right, so fingers crossed that everything works out this year, right? No dates get canceled, everybody remains healthy, and Elvira lives on for another 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, okay?
Well, Elvira, I think, is going to live on even if we don't. I mean, the song just has some kind of magic to it that everybody's latched onto. Like you said earlier in the interview, it's a fun song. Everybody can sing it. Everybody does sing it. And everybody tries to sing with Richard. And everybody knows the song. And it's just a magical entity. I mean, it's not exactly, you know, Yesterday or Bridge Over Troubled Water or something like that. It's just a fun song that everybody has latched onto now for 40 years. And I think the song will go on forever, even if we don't.
Well, I have this feeling, though, that it sounds like you might almost leave the group and start your own group, the Oak Ridge Pretty Boys, because if they're all ogres and you're the heartthrob, I mean, you know,
I'm no heartthrob anymore.
I was going to say, are we...
I don't feel like a heartthrob. I don't think any of us do.
I was going to say...
I do appreciate the love and the respect that the Oak Ridge Boys do receive after all these years being together. It's almost like things are almost turning around again and going back to that. Somebody said a long time ago, if you hang around long enough, people look over their shoulder and go, wow, look at those guys. They're still here. And I think people are doing that with us. And I've seen a lot of very positive signs that we're going to have a really good year coming up here. And I'm excited about it.
Absolutely. And obviously it's too late for a name change, but it sounds like it's really the Oak Ridge Brothers is what it is.
Well, it really is, because us guys are family. We're actually closer than brothers. I think brothers fight more.
Okay.
I've known some brothers in the business and some cousins, and they fight all the time. We don't even fight anymore, man. I can't remember a dark word amongst the four of us in decades. I really can't.
Well, Joe, they haven't heard you just call them ugly, so maybe when they hear this audio...
I hope they don't. You can edit that part out. But, you know, we're closer than family in this group. It's amazing. And those guys are all a little bit older than I am, and sometimes I carry some of them, and oft times they carry me, and we carry each other. And it's been an amazing thing to be one of the. You know, that's our middle name. You know, like I was in Walmart the other day, and I heard some lady go, "Isn't that one of the?" So yeah, I'm one of the, and I've been honored to be that for a long time now, and will be till the day I die. Absolutely.
And I mean, that goes to show you the caliber of the group, but also even just country music fans as well. That it's one big family. That whole group of people just loves the music, loves the people. It's really such a great relationship.
You know, it always has been. I remember, in earlier days, I always felt like family, with Johnny Cash and George Jones and Loretta and Reba McEntire and people like that. And then as time went on, you had Randy Travis and the Judds and Alabama, and time goes on, and you got the Statlers and everybody. And everybody has always felt like family. And the young kids today, some of them aren't as young as they were. They've been carrying it for a long time, But you get around these kids at a big festival or a TV show, an award show or something, And man, they come to us, man, with respect. You know, we've stood on your shoulders, that kind of thing, and it means the world, man. It really does. And I think the kids today have taken country music to levels where it's never been before. I see country music now as the pop music in America, to be honest, because pop music is really not that good anymore. You get an occasional performance in a song that's really good, but to me, the real artists in the last 10 years or so, and right now, are in country, and yeah, it's a family, and I support all these kids singing today. You know, it's just like music anywhere. I mean, everything is not my cup of tea. There's some acts I don't care for, like I do some others, but that's the way music is, and it's always has been that. That's never changed. And to me, it's all song-oriented, man. Sing me a good song. I want to hear a good song.
I'm tempted to call my mom and have her sing to you, but I don't think we've got the time.
I don't think we do, but please give her my love, please. I appreciate that.
Will do. All right. Well, Joe Bonsall from the Oak Ridge Boys, thank you so much, and congrats again.
Thank you, brother. It's been great.
Isn't it crazy that you wait for payday, but before you know it, you're strapped for cash again? It's time to stop blowing your money and become a smart spender with the book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate, at cheapskatebook.com. Learn simple ways to cut costs at home every day and during special times of the year. Don't go broke at Christmas. Don't remortgage the house for a fancy vacation. The book is filled with tips to save you money throughout the year. Check out the best-selling book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate, at cheapskatebook.com or on Amazon and iTunes.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. Speak Free with JB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
Jeremy Bradley here, back on the Scribble. That is the one really cool thing about doing, well, the podcasts, the radio shows. Well, you know, as we know, the radio shows are coming to an end, but I have such a great time chatting with these celebrities, and it's not that I'm starstruck, but what I would say is it's fascinating to finally get to talk to these people because, you know, as Joe was mentioning, you grow up with their music, you hear your parents singing it, like I mentioned, my mom, and it's like a full circle moment. So it's not like I'm in awe, but it's like, hey, I'm just going to have a regular conversation with this guy. And that's what's really been cool about this. I've talked about the Wall of Fame in the studio behind me, and it's basically pictures of me on, red carpets with celebrities and, different interactions that we've had. And that is one of the things that when you have a day when you're like, oh, I don't feel like working. Oh my God, I got to do another show today. I just look at that and go, this is pretty freaking cool. We've got all the press passes hanging on the wall from the different events and me with all these celebrities. And I think about it because I was the kid growing up in the Winnipeg prairies, right? The flatlands of Canada. And then years later when I started doing radio as just an entrepreneur, really, and then I'm in Hollywood. I'm on red carpets. And then to talk with the Oak Ridge Boys and Kenny Rogers, like all these people who... they're iconic. I mean, I said that during the chat with Joe. I mean, these are people, he's even starstruck by the people, that are in the music business. And they're really, the country music audience, let me tell you, I hosted our country music show for, I don't know if it was 8 or 9 years. And that was something that I realized. I covered country music award shows. I heard from country music fans all the time. I've interviewed, obviously, lots of country artists. You just heard one of them. And there is something genuine about a country music audience. It's totally, they have loyalty. And like Joe was saying about pop music, like it's just not the same. It's just schlock. Is that a word? I don't even know. I'll have to ask our producer, Bonnie Winters. She'll probably, text me and go, schlock is not a word. Why did you say that? You said it twice now on the show. There, schlock 3 times. And yeah, a country music audience is really a devoted, dedicated audience. So there you go. Anyway, thanks to Joe for joining us. I wanted to talk about throwing out things. What a segue. Oh, that wasn't even a segue at all. Last weekend, it was kind of a rainy, gloomy sort of a day. And for me, I don't normally clean the house, right? I've got somebody that does that for me. But that person just really cleans, doesn't actually... when I say cleaning, dusting, vacuuming, things like that. Not cleaning as in throwing out just junk from around the office and things like that. I mean, maybe she does. I don't really pay attention, but that's maybe where things are disappearing too. And for some reason, I just got into this cleaning mode of throwing out things. It's true. It happened after I watched that marathon of Hoarders on A&E, but nevertheless, I had a very productive day. And there's something exhilarating. I don't like shopping, but once I buy one thing or I get, one or two things, suddenly I'm on a roll and I end up buying like 3, 4, 5 things. Same thing happened when I was cleaning, was that I throw something out and I was just like, I didn't need that. Look at all these piles of whatever it is that I don't need, brochures or business cards or whatever, and I'm just like, gone. And I had this rule, and I think somebody maybe said it on Hoarders one time. I look at that and go, have I used this in the past 6 months? When I look and I see the stack of, it's not newspapers, but, we did a lot of travel broadcasts on the radio shows, right? So I have almost like every destination, you get this big press pack of things, right? You get the folder of notes and key stats and whatever. And I mean, some of them are interesting, right? Because they give it to you as research, right? So you don't have to, they're basically feeding you the information. You can just drop it into whatever you're working on. We would never use that stuff anyway, because I go and I interview people and I hear directly from them, right? For a radio broadcast, I hear it's audio. I don't just, write things. So I look at all of these things and I'm just like, wow, we've got just a ton of stuff. And so I just started going through, right? Because a lot of times I'll put them in my, either my carry-on bag or my backpack that I take on the plane with me. And so it's not really in the office. It goes home with me. And then I'm just like, I just have tons and tons and tons of brochures from these destinations that it's great. I mean, I recycled them. I don't mean I was throwing them in the garbage. I was recycling. I'm responsible. But yeah, you feel like I'm going to clear up all this space. And then it's like, wow, it looks really empty there now because I don't have anything to take up the room. I'm going to go and pick out of the garbage and put the stuff back now that I think about this. But yeah, there was just something really invigorating almost about, going through and cleaning up things. And I almost made it a game of like, can I fill up another garbage bag of stuff? And now I realize, yes, I'm celebrating producing waste, but it's, I don't know, there's just something, I'm not becoming a hoarder, I guess is what I'm saying. I have the control to be able to say, you know what, I'm going to clean out that corner of the room or the stacks and stacks of stuff on my desk that I haven't touched in 6 months. How deep is that layer of dust on that pile over there? All right, now it's time to take care of it. And that was my motivation, so tell me if you can relate. You probably can't, but send me an email, live@jbonair.com.
It's never too early to start thinking about your next holiday. Have you checked out Mexico recently? From tequila tasting, swimming with horses, to ziplining through the jungle and watching whales and dolphins in their natural habitat, Puerto Vallarta has it all. Visit mexico.jbonair.com to see all the fun PV has to offer. That's at mexico.jbonair.com for hundreds of photos, interviews, and videos from around the tourist hotspot. Check out mexico.jbonair.com for all the fun. That's mexico.jbonair.com.
We hear you chirping. Get scribbling. Tweet up the Scribble at The Scribble Show. Join the discussion with Jeremy Bradley. It's all going down right now on Twitter at The Scribble Show and at thescribbleshow.com.
Jeremy Bradley here, back on The Scribble. I'm just looking at the calendar. It's almost April already. Isn't that ridiculous? Do you remember a year ago, maybe about a year ago, today or so, you looked at the calendar and you're like, this is going to be a really long year, right? You're in lockdown. You can't go and see people. The novelty of working from home was just kicking in, right? All those years, everybody has said, I just want to work from home. I don't want to have to drive every morning. I don't have to go out in the freezing cold. I don't want to have to... And how long did it take you to start hating working from home, right? And then you were begging to go back into the office because everybody hates Zoom now. I wonder if that's going to affect, right? Zoom was like the all-star brand or whatever last year, and now everybody just has this Zoom exhaustion. I wonder if there's going to be this rebellion and people are just going to absolutely boycott Zoom. I wonder. I see it happening. Is cancel culture going to take down Zoom? We will soon find out. My thanks to Joe Bonsall from the Oak Ridge Boys for joining us today, and you can listen to more of our previous interviews at speakfreecelebwatch.com. I think we've got 3 or 4 of them on there now. As I mentioned at the top of the interview, they really come on to hawk a product, a tour, celebrate, I think, Christmas. So speakfreecelebwatch.com. And I thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. And if this is your first time listening, thanks for bearing with us. But feel free to give me a shout anytime. It's always awesome hearing from you. My email address is live@jbonair.com. live@jbonair.com. There you go. Oh, and we're on Twitter. We're on the Twitter, as I just heard, as well. We're on the Twitter at The Scribble Show. My name is Jeremy Bradley. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye for now.
Want more Scribble? Check out thescribbleshow.com for past shows, celebrity interviews, cheapskate tips, and more. That's at thescribbleshow.com and on Twitter at The Scribble Show. The Scribble is a Speak Free media presentation.
If you want some real heat,